Are you ready? Stand by.
Are you ready?
Oh yeah.
Stand by.
Ah, you fucker. So you're thinking about running the P320 for IPSC, are you? Well, let me just give you a rundown of what you can do with it. So rather than talk about Berettas and how much I love Berettas and things like that, I figure I'm going to talk about my guilty pleasure, which is the Sig P320 line. So what I want to go over is I've got a nice little variety of Sig P320s in front of me here. Things that'll pretty much put you in any major division in IPSC. So, I just want to go over the features of some of them, the benefits, and more or less just the benefit of the design of the P320, and more or less its modularity, in the sense of you can shoot any class you pretty much want if shooting a IPSC. So getting right into it, up front, I've just got a basic bare bones Sig Sauer P320. This guy right here is probably going to be the best option for getting into IPSC and deciding if you like the sport. They're not terribly expensive guns, obviously depending on your locale and government change and things like that, but the Sig P320s have always been very popular, more so because of their modularity than any one specific thing. But if you ever wanted to get into competitive shooting and not drop the money on something like, say, the X5, the X5 Legion, the AXG, this is a good way to go because, I mean, there's nothing really bad about the gun. The ergonomics are good. If you don't like it, you can change it. The sight's not terrible. Pretty standard. The trigger's not bad. I mean, it's nothing to write home about. But it's not bad. It's a solid 5-pound trigger. This would be a great way to get into IPSC production and decide, you know, I like the sport or I don't. But not a bad way to go. Various other models, you could do the X Full, things like that. I've just got the basic P320 here just to show you. This is a good way to see if you like the sport. For, let's say, IPSC production. Now, let's say you like the sport and you're really starting to get into it. Maybe you'll want to take a step up and look and start getting into things like the X5s and the X5 Legions. This one specifically is a P320 X5 that I have done some modifications to. This is the gun I use for production optics. The X5s and the X5 Legions are on the production gun list, so are obviously subject to change, but these guns are allowed to be used in production, or in the production division. So the nice thing with a gun like this is it has a couple of features above the standard P320 line that are quite fantastic. The problem is they cost some money. This is when you get into the Legions and things like that, you go from normally, mind you, you'll go normally from like a $750, $800 price point. Bear in mind, I am Canadian, so the pricing I'm telling you is Canadian dollars. And this is also at the time I bought them. Now, obviously, here in Canada, in our political climate right now, that's kind of subject to change, but I'm just kind of saying these numbers just for a point of reference. Don't take these as fact. So, like, when I bought this, it was about $750, right? This guy here, when I got it, now, bear in mind, I did get this one used. This was the regular X5. So when I bought this, I bought the TXG grip module. So I bought the gun for about $1,200. I bought the TXG grip module, which was another $300. I bought a Loophole Delta Point Pro, which was $600. I've got the Springer Precision mount because this gun, the X5s aren't compatible with the Delta Points. I got a Springer Precision mount. That was another $80. So the price of this gun added up very quickly, but it shoots a hell of a lot better than the standard P320. It's a very, very soft shooting gun. and it's on the production list. So if you want to start getting into things like IPSC production, and you want to really start to get into it, this is probably the way you want to go, especially if you want to stay in the production line of guns. It puts you on a very even playing field. And to be honest, I'm going to get razzed for saying this. The Legion line, like the Legions specifically, the X5 Legions, are really starting to pop up inside the market. I'm starting to see boatloads of these at matches. Like I shoot probably a match, maybe 2 a month. And every time I go out now, there's guys there with SIGs. Now, I can tell you right now that SIG, I don't think, as good as the Legion line of guns are, as good as the P320 line is, I do not believe personally that it's going to overtake and take away the CZ Shadow 2s. These guns, no matter, or at least here in Canada, mind you, at an IPSC match, you can't get on a squad without seeing at least 3 of these. The Shadow 2s, they're everywhere. And to be honest, in my eyes, like CZ has a stranglehold on the competitive handgun market, especially in the production division. Not so much the production optics. We are starting to see more Shadow 2s in the optics line, but not near the level of the SIGs. The SIGs, I believe, actually have more of a presence in the production optics area than they do production. So the Shadow 2 is definitely not a gun to shy away from, and I don't believe the SIGs will ever break that stranglehold. CZ just, they have that market, and I can't see that changing anytime soon. So that's one of the big things with these guys is they really control the market, at least in terms of production handguns. So, and the price point. The price point of this Shadow 2 is damn near on par with the Legions. Under normal circumstances. Obviously right now with inflation and everything going on, the pricing has changed, but there was a time when the Shadow 2 was right to the T where the 320 Legions were, so that is something as well. Now, let's say you want to step up even further and you want to get out of the production line guns. You want to start to get into something that you can run. That, to me, or at least the one that I use, this is the Sig P320 AXG Pro. This one I run in standard division. Now, I don't shoot this gun in competition a lot. This is actually probably my least used competition gun. Ironically, it's also one of my favorites. Out of all the guns you see here, this is probably my favorite Sig. This one here is great for standard, but bear in mind, when you're shooting this, especially in the 9mm configuration, you are competing at a disadvantage. Standard, when you get into divisions like standard, is when you get into the modified guns. You know, the guns that have mag wells, enhanced triggers, lightning cuts on the slide, extended, like this guy here, which we got what we call the gas pedal. You start to get into modified guns. Now, you can't modify your gear. So, by that I mean your magazines overly excessively, your holster and your belt and everything still has to be in a proper position on your body. You can't just put it anywhere. So it does have some advantages, but it does have some disadvantages, shooting in standard. One of the biggest advantages is, generally speaking, you're probably going to place in the top 3 of your division, because the simple fact, no one shoots standard. I mean, when you go to a match of, 100 to 200 people, there's 6, maybe 8 people shooting standard. So it's not hard to place high in standard division, but at the same time, you will be competing at your class. The biggest issue with running a 9mm specifically is you are competing against major guns. So what I mean by major is like your 40s, your 45s, things like that. The issue with that is if you're shooting a 9mm, you're shooting what's called standard minor, whereas the other guys are shooting standard major. The problem with that is your points are worth less. So guys who are shooting major will actually get 1 point above you for every Delta and Charlie they shoot. So if you're running a 9mm standard gun, you better be accurate. You got to be fast. Like, you need to be fast, but you got to be accurate. If you're not accurate, you're going to be competing out of your class. So that is something to consider. The benefit with the standard gun is you can shoot standard with any gun that's not on the production gun list, as long as it fits in the IPSC box. Now, this is a box that goes like, more or less, you got to find a way to wedge your gun inside of the said box. As long as it fits, it's a standard gun. But that being said, if you're shooting standard, you can't run an optic. So if you're an optics guy, you might want to look for a gun that's on the production gun list. That way you can shoot optics, or you're going to have to get into open, which we'll get into next. But standard guns, you're allowed to have lightning cuts, you're allowed to have trigger work, mag wells, extended base plates on your mags. This guy here, I've got the lock grips, the palm swell lock grips. Sig should ship the gun with these grips. It should be mandatory. They shouldn't even make their own grips. They shouldn't even put anybody else's grips. They should just put the lock grips on the guns, because my word, is that comfortable. And by the way, the footage you saw at the start of this video, that was me shooting this gun. So I was shooting standard that day, so. But if you want to shoot standard, the AXG Pros, definitely a good gun. I have been insanely surprised by this gun. And of course, last but not least, if you really want to get eccentric, is going to be the Sig P320 Open. So this specific gun, this is an X Carry Legion. So this is the 320 X Carry Legion with the comp on it. I was shooting this gun earlier today. So this is about as close as you're gonna get to a true open gun without actually buying like a real deal open gun. The benefit with shooting open is anything goes. As long as the rounds you're firing meet the minimum power factor, anything goes. Your gear can go anywhere on your body, on your belt, your holster, your mag pouches, your gun. There's no rules other than the fact that your ammunition has to meet the power factor, which on a gun like this is not difficult. Just buy factory ammo and you're good to go. When you get into open, you can do compensators, you can do mag wells, you can do optics, you can do cantilever mounts with the optic on top. You can literally do anything you want to the gun, and it's all fair game. The P320, this is not what I would call a true open gun. I shoot open with it, but it is not a true open gun because of the sense the optic is mounted on the slides. When the slide's moving, the optic's moving as well. With a true open gun, you have that cantilever mount, so while the slide's cycling, the dot stays right where it is. In those guns, you can, in trained hands, this is something to remember, in trained hands, an open gun is insanely fast, and it gives you an advantage that just no other gun can compete with. In trained hands. I mean, I've had cases where I've shot this gun against literally an entire squad of open guys, and I beat all of them because my time and score was faster than them. They were too reliant on their gun, not on their skills. So just because you have an expensive ass gun with a lot of gear on it does not in any way, shape, or form make you a good shooter. You need to practice. So that is something to consider. But this guy specifically, this is my version of an open gun, or what I would consider to be shooting an open. Again, I still shoot open minor. This is still just factory 9mm, nothing high end. But this is one of those, like, when you want to shoot something different with no rules attached. So in this one here, we've got the full-size TXG grip module. We've got the comp on. I don't remember what is the brand of this comp? I don't know. Somebody will look at that and they'll tell you. I can't even remember where I bought that or where we got this. Anyway, Sig Romeo 1 Pro optic. Let's get that turned on. Where is it? Uh-oh. My battery just died? Hold on. Oh, there it is. Got it. It looks big. It's a 3 MOA dot. The Delta Point Pro is a 6. So you've got, my red dot, the Armory Craft extended takedown lever, Armory Craft extended mag release. This is the factory mag well. This gun here, you can shoot insanely fast. It's especially when you get a little bit of trigger work done to it. I'm shooting 1.5 to 1.8 splits on this gun. Like I can double tap disgustingly fast with this gun to the point where even like I myself, like, I'm sitting there like, wow, like, damn, I'm good. So it's really cool. If you want to try getting into open without spending, 8 to 10 grand on a true dedicated open gun, like a CZ Checkmate or a Staccato or a 2011, these are great way to go in that sense. We've also got a Talon Bro Series grip on it with a little bit of Talon grip right at the top. A lot of texturing. But, like, great guns. So, the P320 line, you can do anything you want with it. Like, there's no type of competition, with the exception of something like Classic or Revolver. You can pretty much shoot the Sig P320 in anything you want. Realistically, what it comes down to is the decision you want to make onto what class you want to shoot. Someone like myself, like, I rotate through it. I shoot production for a bit, then I'll shoot production optics for a bit, and then I'll go to standard, and then once in a blue moon, I'll run open just, like, I don't know, for something different. There's two things you need to consider when selecting a P320 for competition. Number one, are you competing seriously? If you're competing seriously, these two are probably not going to be the best option for you unless you get something like unless you get these guys from like a 40 caliber, where you can at least shoot them in open or at least shoot major. These guns aren't really rated for like those like super hot like 9mm plus P plus plus open rounds. They're not rated for that. They won't take it. So if you're gonna go that route, you'd be better off to get a dedicated open gun. Where the Sig P320 line shines is production and production optics. If you're looking for a production gun, like just an assembly line gun that's going to go toe-to-toe with the best production guns on the market, the P320 and the P320 Legion line are specifically the X5s. The X5s, the X5 Legion, that is the way to go. The guns are oddly soft shooting given the height over bore. So given how high up that thing is, they are insanely soft shooting. And they're like none of these guns have ever failed me at a match. I've never had any sort of a malfunction that has cost me a stage. So their reliability is awesome. Their durability is awesome. Their accuracy, I can't even explain. I can't even explain why these guns are as accurate as they are. I've always been a Beretta guy. I will always be a Beretta 92 guy. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I took a Beretta with an optic against this with an optic, I will take this all day, every day, no questions asked. Just because of the accuracy and how well I personally shoot these guns. Bear in mind, everything I'm telling you is my personal opinion. Lots of people are going to tell you why the CZ Shadow 2 is a better gun. Lots of people are going to tell you why the FN is a better gun. Lots of people are going to tell you why a Beretta is a better gun. The reason I think the P320s are some of the best guns for IPSC is what you see in front of you, modularity. If you want to shoot a class with it, you can do it. And the best part is you can do it on the same gun. Like I can take the slide off of this and put it onto that. I can take the slide off of that and put it onto that. I take the frame off this and put it onto that. There's nothing you can't do to the P320s. So if you're looking for an awesome IPSC gun that's going to put you right toe-to-toe with the guns that have been on the market for decades, look no further than the Sig P320. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will see y'all next time.